and welcome to Australian Gamers Friday Night Podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yoke.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Portals and Team Fortress 2.
New games from Warren Spector, Clive Barker and Dennis Kayak.
And we talk about the topic, is gaming antisocial?
Thanks to AJ, actually, for bringing that one up in the forums.
Are we going to start with that, or are we going to
No,
go into
we're
that
not.
later?
We're not. We're going to go into that later because that's going to be a big rambling mess.
Yes, that's
So we
what
should
we're looking
actually-
forward to.
We should talk first.
We should
of all
start with
about
focus.
Focus.
Yeah, like start the show with a bit of focus.
Oh, right, with focus.
Yeah, no, it's not a game called Focus that I haven't mentioned until now.
No, we're talking about Portals.
Portals, yeah.
Portals and Team Fortress 2. Now, this comes about from Gabe Newell from Valve. There was an EA thing happening overseas somewhere. I'm really good with this.
Yeah.
Well, basically they
Jonas,
came out
yeah.
and said, because a lot of people are asking about Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which is coming out soon, and he said, yes, that's coming out, and we're also going to be bringing out Team Fortress 2, and they're all going to be available on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, and so will this game called Portals. Now,
if you're unfamiliar with Portals, you've probably been living under a rock. I'm aware
So
of it, and
before-
I've been living under a rock.
Before you do that for a second, there is Team Fortress 2.
Yes.
Is one that a lot of people were excited about,
Yes,
but I don't really
No.
know much about it, and I never really.
I'm relatively boner-free when it comes to...
yeah,
Team
and
Fortress
I
2
just
doesn't-
don't know about. Maybe I should watch some videos. Maybe I should actually look at.
Yeah, maybe
find
we
out
should.
about it, but I can't be bothered because Portals looks so interesting.
Portals looks much more our thing. Team Fortress 2, I'm sure it'll be pretty and everything, but it's just...
We don't know anything
more-
about it. We can't really talk about it.
No, but I'm going to guess it's just
Which
more
makes me feel
multiplayer
guilty.
fighty,
So now I'm
fighty.
actually going to end up looking up.
Yeah,
stuff
we'll look
about it
some
now.
stuff up tonight.
My initial, I don't know. Should we actually tell the good people what Portals is about?
Yeah, we probably should, because otherwise, why are we here?
Because they should be reading the site.
They should be, but we know they don't,
Right.
because they think we're stupid.
Think.
They think you're stupid. They think I'm very bright, but they think I'm crippled by you. You're like,
No, you're just crippled.
right,
That's it. You don't need me.
right. Portals.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yes, Portals is games with physics. Physics made fun.
You see, when I first heard it, to be honest, did you ever play that Gary's mod for Half-Life 2?
No, I've heard of it.
Yeah. Gary's mod was basically just a big open space where people were allowed to, or were capable of doing anything they wanted
Within the
to
physics
actually
engine.
play with the physics and stuff. Which, if you wanted to create, you could create a couch here and connect it to a human here and connect that to a motor with wheels and just see what happens. And it was fully crazy. And my first impression was that's what Portals sound like. It sounded like just one big little interesting tech demo where it was like, hey, Portals, yeah. Because I'd just come off playing Prey,
Yeah.
which shows hints, glimmers of potential with Portals, but never actually lives up to
Yeah.
anything it promises. But yeah, what I actually saw in the video for Portals looks mind-blowingly cool.
It does indeed look impressive. Portal's basically the overriding... Am I allowed to talk about this now?
Yeah, right,
You've
go on.
finished your little thing?
Yeah.
Right. Portals basically involves using the Half-Life 2 engine and the concept of portals. Portals being pretty much the thing that we've always played in games since, when did they first come around about? I remember them being quite a big factor in Quake 3.
Portals.
Teleports, little teleporter things.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's a way to put it, I guess, yeah. Well, the difference with these is that, and it's the big thing is it's a portal gun.
I'm not saying... I was going to go somewhere with that. I wasn't just going to say, yes, it's exactly the same as Quake 3, but with better graphics.
You were saying that.
No, we're all familiar with what a portal is. It's a thing you walk through and you end up somewhere else.
Portal.
A little teleporter thing.
It's a portal.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Were you doing like Pauly Shore?
Yes! I watched Pauly Shore is Dead the other day, actually.
Right.
Which is a movie, this
Yeah,
last
yeah.
movie, and I don't know.
Well, isn't it basically him going around telling people
that he's dead.
saying that he's dead and him
Yeah.
filming their
I
reactions?
don't know,
or
but for
something?
some reason, for a good couple of hours afterwards, I really started going, it's the weasel,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Pauly
I
Shore.
kind of get that.
Mannerisms.
Aneurysms?
No, mannerisms.
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 Do you mean mannerisms?
I don't. Maybe. Yeah, just
Anyway,
portals.
we know what portals. What? We know what portals are. They're things you walk through, but the difference between this interpretation and others is that the portals are non-static. They can be put anywhere. They
Yep.
can portalize to anywhere from anywhere. And the reason that is highly cool is because you can fire them from a gun.
Yes,
And frankly, we're fans of anything that can be fired from guns.
absolutely.
So far, portals are probably second behind the
Bullet.
armed and dangerous
Oh, right.
shark.
Yeah, that was a good gun.
Firing sharks from a gun is
Actually,
cool.
there was a thing, a top 10 guns in video
Yeah,
games.
top 10
actually,
weapons.
That was recently.
Yeah.
And the gravity gun was number 1. And might I also add that from what I saw in the video, that this is not just a portal gun; it's also
No,
a
it's
gravity
also a
gun.
gravity gun.
It is the gravity gun and the portal
And the portal gun. And
Which-
it seems to be your only method of interacting with things as well. I noticed that when he had to do stuff, like he didn't just walk over and kick things.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little difficult to describe exactly how cool this is without actually seeing the video for yourself. But I think probably the best thing that I can actually say to give an example of how cool it is the concept of momentum, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you
Sorry, can I just
Yeah.
stop you for 2 seconds? One of the point of it is you shoot one portal and that's your destination, and you shoot another portal at somewhere else and that's your leaving point.
you're over, yeah.
So then you can just pass through the portals. But
Yeah.
whether you put them in the floor or the walls or wherever, that's up to you.
I wonder, you know, what would be cool if you could shoot a portal into an enemy's back, and then shoot another portal into the wall. What would happen if you then pushed that enemy through that portal in the wall?
Sorry, put a portal what?
Okay, imagine you're standing here. This could be a good comic, actually. You're standing here. I shoot you in the back with the portal gun. No, I don't. I shoot the wall. I shoot the portal gun towards the wall. Portal opens up. Then I shoot you in the back.
Yeah.
Matt just whispered, if this is a good comic, then maybe we shouldn't say it on the podcast.
Yeah, maybe.
No. Just listen to me.
I'm trying not to listen to you.
Shoot portal gun in the wall.
Yeah.
Hole opens up.
Uh-huh.
Right? Then I shoot you in the back.
Yeah.
Then I push you through the portal in the wall. What then happens? Do you then come out of yourself and implode?
No, you don't.
What would happen?
And for the record, you were wrong.
About what?
That would not have made a good
It
comment.
would have been funny because
How do you describe the fact that, like, visualize that? I can visualize that with motion, but for a start, you can't draw very well, so good luck with that.
I know. I just like the
can-
idea of drawing you sort of folding in on yourself.
Oh, that would be kind of
Hey, look, I had to draw me with my head exploding, man. All right,
Sure,
I
it's
want to
about
do
time
something
I had
gruesome to
some
you.
sort of existential issue.
That's right. But no, seriously, this might be a little bit off topic. And what would happen if you did that?
You can't, as far as I can tell, you can't target actual objects. You notice that when he shot at things, he only ever took out the floor beneath it or the wall
Actually, good
behind
point.
it. So I suspect you can't do it to
Damn it.
actual objects.
Because that'd be cool.
And if there's enemies, there don't seem to be live enemies. Everything was basically the same gun
Well,
turret
I mean,
things.
that's my other concern, which is, well, not concern, because it looks like a cool game, but it also looks like a great big puzzle game.
But I'm actually okay with that because, well, for a start, I haven't done that before. I've played games where I had to run through corridors mowing down enemies with giant guns, but I haven't actually played a game where you had to think your way through a solution and then actually carry it out, rather than just pressing left, right, up,
Just
left.
slightly concerned, I guess, because every puzzle game I play, it's fun and they're innovative and they're cool, but it just gets to a point with any puzzle game that has no story or plot or anything like that where it becomes repetitive.
And also, and maybe this is just because I'm not very smart, you get to a point where they get real hard and I give up.
Yeah.
Is that just me? Because I'm just like...
And you don't really have the incentive to try, other than to actually, I guess, complete it. But, like, that's what a story in a game does. A story actually keeps you going. It makes you go, I want to keep going because I want to see how things turn up or stuff like that. Anyway, getting off topic, Portals looks really cool. And what I actually want to say was the momentum side of things, which is the best way to describe it without you actually seeing it. And you should all go look at the video. There's a post on the front of the site that links to it. But the whole concept is that if you shoot a portal in the floor and then you jump down into it, wherever the portal is that you've shot, where you're coming out of, you're going to have that momentum that you had going into
jumping
that
into
portal,
the hole.
into that hole when you come out. So there's a
You
potential
basically get shot out of the.
you get shot out of the portal at the other side, and of course, as soon as you come out, gravity takes its toll if you put it in the floor or the ceiling or the wall or whatever, and you'll start going in whatever direction gravity is in. But it's really quite cool for some potentially awesome and clever and hard puzzles.
Yeah. One thing I'm curious about, if you shoot something, say, in the ground, you shoot one portal into the ground and then another into the wall.
Yes.
If you walk into the wall, do you get pushed up out of the ground or what?
If you walk into the wall.
Yeah.
No, I'd imagine if you just walk into it, you would sort of come 90 degrees into the next portal, sort of thing.
Yeah, but which is in the ground, so you'd have to. I don't know.
Well, you'd need to sort of jump into it, and the gravity would then push you back in, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you see what I mean?
I don't know.
No, neither do I.
That's
and
a
I
good
didn't
one,
really
though.
see that. I didn't really see that handled in the actual thing, so I'm curious what would happen there.
Okay. Well, was there anything else you want to say about portals?
No, it looks good. I just basically wanted to say. Thank you, Paulie. I just wanted to say that it actually looks really innovative and interesting. And I really dig the concept of playing with the physics to actually make a game.
Yep.
And I like the concept of a 3D FPS puzzle game.
Yep. Fair enough.
Because what the hell, why not?
Yeah. No, cool.
I'm waiting for the next Bejeweled / Doom 4 clone, where you get to really blow up the crystals.
Yeah.
In a different gun for different colours.
Alright,
and
well,
stuff.
look, let's move on. There was one other thing which I briefly wanted to talk about, which was there's been a few news reports lately about some well-known game developers and people who have famously made good games, who are saying that they want to make more in the same series that they're well known for. Now, there's Warren Spector, who actually he's the guy behind the Deus Ex games.
Yep.
There's
That's actually Deus. It's
Deus
not
Ex,
Deuce.
Deus Ex.
It's not Deuce.
Does everyone else call it Deus, or is it just me?
If everyone else does, everyone else is wrong,
Okay.
and I'm correcting everyone
Deus
starting
Ex.
with you.
Deus Ex.
Yes.
Sounds wrong. Anyway,
It's not.
I know it's not. It just sounds wrong because I've always called it
Wrong.
Deus Ex. Deus
Yes.
Ex.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex. Anyway, there's Clive Barker, who many of you probably know for Clive Barker's Undying,
Yeah.
which came out.
He's
a while
born.
ago. He's a
really
horror
better known for horror movies, than
but
games.
he's directly involved in the games
Yep.
he's actually made, and he's keen to actually do another game for the next gen systems. which is
Undying.
still Undying. What?
Is that the process of becoming an undead?
Undying. No, it's when you've died, but then you
And
get
you're coming
brought
back
to
to
life. Yes,
is Undying.
it's Undying. I don't know. And there's another guy by the name of Dennis Kayak, I believe, who's responsible for the
Logically, that's Kayak.
Dennis Kayak.
The dude's named after a canoe, which is cool for him, you know.
Yeah.
I think we should all be named after small water-going craft of some kind.
If he likes canoes.
Call me Matt Tugboat from now on.
I'll just call you Matt Tug.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's responsible for the Eternal Darkness game on the GameCube, which got so much critical acclaim, but which I never played.
Never played.
And I really wish I did.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, we, for our top 50 games of all time article, we were meant to, but
we
never got around to.
fully intended. We had really good ambitions.
We really, really did. We were going to have one final follow-up page which listed games that weren't in the top 50, but we
probably
should have been, but we never played them.
Yeah.
And that included
Games like
Eternal Darkness
and Ico are the two most prominent.
GoldenEye.
Which we did play a little bit of, but not enough to really give it a good judgment.
Not enough to actually. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, anyway. And Warren Spector was saying that he'd really, really, really like to make another Deus Ex game.
Very good.
Yeah.
He can be taught.
But Ironstorm, not Ironstorm, Ubisoft or Activision or whoever published it actually owns the IP.
Yeah. Now, was he actually involved with the second one? Because it was a pretty substantial departure from the first one, and it had the hallmarks of him not being involved.
I don't know. I think he was.
Because he apparently really, he was not just a manager on that one, but a real driving force creatively behind, to me, one of the best games ever made.
Absolutely.
And it's apparently totally to his credit.
Yeah.
I always found it really interesting that the year that
second one wasn't as good.
the year that Deus Ex came out,
yep.
Ion Storm actually released the official best game of the year and the official worst game of the year at the same time.
Yeah, that's right.
That being, of course, Daikatana.
Yeah.
And it was always interesting.
It was two different studios.
There were two different studios.
Dallas.
One was Austin.
Austin was the one that did.
I can't really remember, but yeah, there were two different studios. One of them kept quiet, shut the hell up, and got the job done and got it really well. And the other was all bringing out magazine things saying, what was it?
I'm going to make you all my bitches.
Will make you my bitches. Yeah.
Yeah, John Carmack. That's right.
There was
John
definitely
Carmack or John Romeo, or
I don't know, some geek
with long hair.
Yeah, some long hair.
Like a heavy metal guy.
He did actually. One of them looks like an utter dork, and it really is.
I think it's John Carmack, who is the good.
Yeah,
guy
I think
who
you're
still
right.
Works on the,
I think you're right.
Doom and Quake engines, and it's John Romero. I don't know. God, we should know that though.
We really should know that. I think we're getting confused between that and the horror director. Isn't it George Romero? It was the.
Oh man,
it's all very confusing. And he, for the
my
record,
brain's hurting.
The guy who wrote Daikatana is, I believe, now
the juice. Sorry, go on.
Is now, I think, working in a supermarket as a
Really?
checkout guy. I hope so.
Oh,
if there's
that's
any
bad.
justice, he is. I doubt it. I've got nothing to back that
And
up.
I reckon he would just get abused by geeks every day that go down. Hey, you're John. Slap.
How funny would it be if he worked at like an EB, and you would just go in all the time and just buy copies of Daikatana, like pull them off the shelves and then go up and go and then put it back. That's what I'd do.
Or actually, no, you'd actually legitimately talk to him and say, yeah, so what's a good game to get? And he'd say, yeah, you should get this game. This game's a good game. This game. And you'd be like, I'm not listening to you.
What would you know?
What would you know?
You made Daikatana.
Yeah.
I thought that was good.
So yeah, anyway, I thought that was a little bit of interesting things that are coming up. You know, it's always nice to know favourite game series if they're going to continue, or what famous developers are up to.
Yeah, I'd like to see Deus Ex not only continue but return to its former glory.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that the second one was
kind of
absolutely
means
appalling, but the first one was so good.
Probably means that it can't be released on the consoles. I know that sounds a bit weird.
No, that was one of the reasons the second one wasn't as good. It was because it was compromised for the consoles.
I don't know if it was that bad. Most people actually didn't say it was bad, just that
it's just
I
that
think
the first one was
expectations
so good.
were so massive, and they tried to simplify the second one.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was good because it was complex. It was. If there was one criticism I could make of Deus Ex, the original, it was actually too big and too complicated.
Yeah, it was.
It was a hard game to finish. I finished it 3 times, I think.
Damn.
Played it through 3 times.
Anyway.
And I nearly started again the other day.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't.
No.
Between that and World of Warcraft,
yeah,
you'd never leave the goddamn house.
And we can't review either of those.
No, we can't. So stop.
Yeah, fair enough.
Might I just add a round of applause, everyone, Matt, for reviewing Loco Roco.
Yeah, finally got a damn review
after
up.
6 months of no reviews.
Yeah, there haven't been many reviews from me lately. I've just been too busy
playing World of Warcraft.
But I wanted to actually thank Ellis for lending me her Loco Roco, which she gave to me the day she got it so that I could review it.
That's
which
nice,
I thought was really nice of her. And I always hated her before that, and I think she's alright.
Yeah, that's good. Well, look, in the final 10 minutes of our podcast, because we can't really find much else to talk about at the moment.
No, and actually, I thought this was a really good topic.
It is. AJ actually brought up made a really quite good post.
Yeah.
In the Australian Gamer forums, in his actual forum, asking if gaming is antisocial, and we thought that's actually a pretty cool thing to.
The gist of it, just to cover the story, the basics of the post, were that it was his friend's girlfriend, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. His friend from work was a girl, and she was saying that her boyfriend, all of his mates come around, like all their friends come around, and all the guys go into all the girls hang around and talk and be social, quote unquote,
Yeah.
while all the guys go and be antisocial playing computer games,
Yeah.
playing video games. From our point of view, and undoubtedly his point of view, he's being social as well, playing video games with
Yeah.
his mates.
You know, I did think about this, and I did read it, and I did make a post back, and not to like kill the argument or kill the topic before we even talked about it.
Unlikely to, because you're wrong, but yeah.
I don't think it's actually something that you can actually answer. Is gaming antisocial? It can be, and it can't be. I think it really depends on the person. You know, I think anything can be antisocial.
Can I just state for the record that when we talk about these things in the future, can you try not to have a moderate viewpoint? Be extreme. Pick a direction, but just go there a long way.
Alright, hold on, let me think. I gotta think which direction I prefer going. Gaming is not antisocial.
Gaming is not antisocial.
No, it's not.
No, I actually think it is antisocial.
No, it's not antisocial at all, because it's as a matter of fact, it's less antisocial than it ever was. You've got Xbox Live, which actually communicates you to thousands of people around the world. You've got World of Warcraft.
But thousands of faceless voices and thousands of typey chat people. It doesn't actually teach you how to exist in the real world.
You of all, and who says you have to exist in the real world? You of all people would know, actually, with your World of Warcraft guild. I mean, you know, something actually happened to one of the people in the guild, and it's like that profoundly affected you. This person was sick, and sick, or they had a kid. I can't remember.
Sick.
One of the two.
But you say it profoundly affected me, like I sat at home crying.
No, it profoundly affected you in the same
did
way that
affect
a friend of yours would be
Well, it
sick.
was a friend of mine.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't be bothered continuing that whole two-sided thing. No, I do agree with you to a degree, but there are risks. I think one thing is, I don't think gaming itself is antisocial, but I think obsessive of anything is.
Yes.
Whether you're obsessively playing video games or obsessively collecting baseball cards or obsessively doing anything. It's a personal, internal thing,
is.
and that can be antisocial.
I mean, bringing it back to that initial example with the girls chatting outside and the guys coming in, there's no difference between the girls chatting outside and the guys coming in, sitting around the TV and watching football.
Yeah.
Which is a very accepted Australian thing to do.
I think one thing that's a problem is that girls have a different concept of social to what guys do. I was talking to someone at work today, and she was asking me, I can't remember, but basically I said I was meeting up with a friend for lunch tomorrow, and she's like, are all your friends girls? And I'm like, well, no, not really. And I thought about it a bit, and I thought, actually no, it's just that the number of people that I would get together for lunch and a coffee and a chat with, they're girls.
Yes.
Because guys don't do that. Well, I do because I'm pseudo gay, but guys,
you wish.
Could you imagine how many of your male friends could you actually go somewhere and just sit and have a chat with?
No, well, actually, yeah, plenty, to be honest, but it would need to be over a beer.
Yeah, but you'd have a beer.
Involved.
Having games or something is cool. You'd sit and chat and talk crap, but you don't just enjoy each other's company. You might, but you don't say that.
No way. No, there's no way.
There's got to be an excuse, and it should involve violence.
Absolutely. Violence or alcohol of some...
Preferably violence and alcohol.
And alcohol together, which is a fantastic combination.
And nudity. Not like of each other's, but like on the TV.
That's right. Just, basically sitting around playing video games of naked women fighting and drinking beer.
Yeah.
Is probably the ultimate.
Girls fighting and drinking beer.
Or you got violence, you got nudity, and you got alcohol.
Oh, you mean while you're drinking beer?
Yes.
I thought the girls in the game were fighting and drinking beer.
Well, if they're going to take their clothes off, I mean, there's got to be some reason. They're drunk.
They're drunk. Yeah. A friend of mine, I remember saying that every girl was 3 drinks from a lesbian experience, and his girlfriend got very offended at that.
Really?
He said 2.
To which he secretly went, yes.
Yes, and here's a bourbon and coke.
Yeah. Hey, I brought you 2 drinks.
Killer.
Hey. This is 2 standard drinks, apparently.
Yes.
But I just don't think this is. It's an interesting topic initially to think about. It's like, is gaming antisocial? Because to be honest, growing up all my life, I do remember all throughout high school and school when I did play games. it's sort of, there was a stigma about it. There
yeah.
was sort of like people that play games
I
because
know.
they're not out playing sports, or they're not
Yeah.
doing
They're
other stuff.
indoorsy.
They're indoorsy, and because of that they're antisocial.
Yeah.
Which
Gaming has changed though to the degree where we can play games other than Sonic the Hedgehog that do connect to other
but
people.
it's less about that. I think it's just more mainstream accepted now. Gaming is more cultural.
Saying I play video games is kind of like saying I watch movies. People aren't going to immediately judge you and go, what a nerd.
That's right. And
they're going to look at me and say that anyway, but it's got nothing to do with the games.
So, hey, just to clarify, because we both took different sides before, I was right. Is that
You got to pick your side. But no, I actually think that there are some issues with particularly massive multiplayer online games. World of Warcraft stands out, but only because it's so popular here in Asia.
Okay.
There are other games that are just as popular.
Here's an interesting one, though. I know you say that, and I know that's the usual one that people point to and go, that's the one that makes people antisocial and stuff like that. But World of Warcraft is a social experience in itself.
It is.
I would actually think that a game that is more antisocial is something like a single-player RPG or a single-player game of massive Oblivion, for example.
But they don't tend to have the same sort of scope and addiction and eternity as something like World of Warcraft.
Oblivion doesn't?
I don't know, I haven't really played it much, but I couldn't see people getting obsessed with Oblivion and quitting their jobs, or just not going to work because they have to level their character, which happens regularly.
Okay, but I could. I remember obsessively playing, and I know it's not as good an example as Oblivion, but Final Fantasy X. I remember I actually bought a PlayStation 2 just for Final Fantasy X, and I spent every second day away from work just to play this game because I could not put it down. I was like addicted.
All right, but how long did you play it for?
A week.
Right. You see where I'm going with this?
I do see where you're going, but I'm just saying that those aren't social experiences in any form whatsoever.
They are totally antisocial experiences.
But World of Warcraft is built around
But is that really a social experience? Playing the devil's advocate, really.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Is that really teaching social?
I would say yes, and I would say yes for a new. This is a new medium. It's a new way of communicating and meeting people, and I mean,
I probably maybe not so much now because I haven't been able to play World of Warcraft much because I've been working too much. But I was actually thinking the other day I spend more time talking to people in the World of Warcraft
than you do talking to people
World of Warcraft than probably talking to people in real life.
It's because no
which
one
is
likes
quite tragic. The only female relationships I have basically are with people in the guild, which is fairly tragic.
Yeah.
Actually, the only female relationships I have are with people who end up saying, "Do you want fries with that? You dine here or take away." That's pretty much it. That's my social life.
Do you want fries with that? You don't love me anymore.
We used to be close when you gave me that burger.
When you gave me the free sauce. You gave me the free upgrade.
Yeah.
Okay, so are games antisocial? Sometimes.
I think we've conclusively proven can be, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, maybe.
But at the same time, some of the best social times I've had have been with games. You get a game like MASH and a bunch of people and a bunch of idiots, some drunkenness.
Yep.
You get a game like SingStar or DDR. You got good times of rolling.
Yep. That's true.
Because it's one thing to just get together and be social and sit around and talk about your feelings, but sometimes you get together and you do something.
Actually, you know what? The more I think about it, I mean, any social gathering I try and organise or put together, and believe, I do that quite often.
That's fairly regular.
They're fairly regular, and they
only because of you I have a social life.
Alcohol, to be honest, is the usual contributing factor.
The social lubricant, yeah. That and KY, yep.
Yeah.
But that's real hard to say in a shot glass. There you go, I poured you something. What's that?
Dude. I've had this before. No.
Jelly shots. What?
It's not right. But anyway, when I do that, usually, or
Tastes like
a lot
mum.
of stop it. A lot of the time, it's handy to have a gimmick that actually starts, especially people that don't know each other. It's like my friends that haven't met each other or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Having something there to actually get them talking, or whether that be, I mean, the last party I had, we had like a ball pit and fire breathers and magicians, and you've got all these things which bring people together, gimmicky things, that people talk about. Video games is very similar in that respect.
But you can't really hate someone you've just spent 5 minutes singing "I've Got You, Babe" with. That's going to bring you together. It's going to bring you close.
Yeah, but you need to be drunk.
Oh yeah,
or at least tipsy.
Because a lot of people need to be drunk or at least tipsy to even get up there and have a go.
Hell, I need to be drunk or at least tipsy to just wake up in the morning.
Yeah, true.
I'm kidding, everyone.
There's a shot glass.
I am kidding.
There's a shot glass of tequila beside his bed.
That's right, just in case I wake up in the middle of the night.
It's like people have coffee in the morning. Guy can't function without his.
I'll
can of bourbon
tell you a
and
little story actually, which might be a little bit telling. Is one of my relatives actually, get up every morning sort of thing and read the paper and all this kind of stuff, and drink his coffee. And after I actually stayed with him for a while, and after 3 months, I actually looked at his coffee because he'd put the paper down on top of the coffee mug. I looked in the coffee mug and it was red wine.
Nice.
Waking up every morning, starting the morning off with a hot cup of red wine. Well, not hot
cup?
It wasn't hot, I'm just saying.
Because that would actually be cool, because I think...
Hot red wine.
Yeah,
it'd be like drinking blood.
Like spiced wine. Something like that.
Yeah. Alright, well, I think we've exhausted this week's podcast.
We could talk more about the social aspects of gaming and so on, but we're not going to.
I talk to you anymore at all, to be
No,
honest.
that's fair enough. It's actually really late.
Yeah. Alright. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in again. Next week, we're going to have a third person.
Yeah, who, if he's listening tonight...
Yeah,
you suck.
Slack.
You suck.
Yeah. Alright. Thanks, everyone.
See you guys.